Lin Xuan traveled to the mythological version of the Three Kingdoms and unfortunately became a small leader of the Yellow Turban. Fortunately, the Heavenly Way reward system has been awakened, and as long as you work hard, you will reap rewards. You have practiced the basic breathing technique 10 times and received feedback that your internal skill cultivation is 99%. You have practiced the external skill forging technique hundreds of times and received feedback. Your physical fitness has been enhanced, and you are at the peak of the martial arts world after birth. You work hard to practice archery skills and receive feedback. With 100 steps, you can shoot without fail. You worked hard to study the remaining chapters of Taiping Yaoshu and received feedback. Breaking through the shackles and comprehending Taiping Xianshu. You have worked hard to deeply communicate with Diao Chan and received feedback. Understanding the Yellow Emperor's inner canon and 3,000 Imperial Guards. You have ended the Yellow Turban Rebellion and opened the Golden Age of Huangtian. Reward. Infinite Emperor's Decision. Diao Chan, Zhen Mi, Xiao Xiao Qiao, Cai Zhaoji, Lady Gan, Huang Yueying, Sun Shangxiang, and others. It's getting cold, husband, hurry up and put on a dragon robe. Lin Xuan said, "Oh my, you are harming me. Next time, don't do this anymore." Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 0001. Opening Yellow Turban, Heavenly Way Rewards Diligence, Volume. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the first year of Zhongping, 184 AD, it was April. Jiao, Changshan County. Outside Xuyang County, there is a yellow scarf camp. Insert, Jia, Sting, Fork, Genius is just at dawn, in the training ground of the military camp. I saw a young man with a slender figure and a height of over 8 feet. Holding a wooden spear in the forehand, constantly practicing. Ha ha ha. What's the difference between this damn thing? Then don't worry, I heard this is the external skill forging technique passed down by General Di Gong. Shit, what the leaders of Chu Shui are practicing is completely different from ours. At best, when he died in battle, his shouting was more heroic. Ha ha ha, you're so damn. At this time, the Yellow Turban camp was constantly being rushed by soldiers. Looking at the diligent young man, I couldn't help but start joking. Following closely, they all searched for a feng shui treasure trove on their own. Lying lazily and unsteadily on the ground. One by one, their eyes were bewildered, drowsy, and their faces were almost covered in words of eating and waiting to die. It can be said that they are soldiers with yellow scarves, but to put it bluntly, they are just cannon fodder balls composed of a group of refugees who have no food to eat. If there is something good that cannot be salvaged, the first one to die is always the one to take it. Although it is a training ground, it is neither supervised nor practiced by anyone. So everyone became accustomed to laziness, just a symbolic attendance. Upon seeing this scene, Lin Xuan remained unmoved. Continue practicing oneself, seemingly meaningless. Yes, I came through time travel. Let's not mention the various oxen and horses of our past lives. Upon waking up, I realized that I had inexplicably traveled to the end of the Han Dynasty and the Three Kingdoms. Before I had time to be happy, I was pushed onto the battlefield by someone. Fortunately, with the protection of beginners, I didn't let myself die hastily. When I realized it, I suddenly realized. Unexpectedly, I became a member of the Taiping Road and Yellow Turban Army formed by Zhang Jiao. You're young, damn it. This is not something that must be worn. Others travel through time, either Cao Cao's rebellious son or Liu Bei's strategist. Put it on yourself, don't hesitate to say it. He also became a public enemy of the world's aristocratic families, a target of the imperial court's deployment of troops to clear and surrender, and a member of the Yellow Turban Army. Stop playing, let's go. If I could start over, I would choose Li Bai. That way, I can at least write poetry to surge and tease girls. Just as Lin Xuan was closing his eyes and waiting to die, he unexpectedly awakened the Heavenly Way reward system. Insert, Jia, sting, fork, Lin Xuan practiced silently 100 times. Among the yellow scarves, everyone can learn the external skill forging technique. Ding! The Heavenly Way reward system has been loaded successfully. Only by fighting hard can we win, and hard work will pay off. You work hard to practice spears and gain spear specialization. You have practiced the external skill forging technique 100 times and received feedback. Your physical fitness has been enhanced and you have reached the peak of the acquired martial artist. In the next moment, a warm current flows towards my limbs. At this moment, Lin Xuan is full of energy in energy. Up and down, as if there was an inexhaustible force. This is the pinnacle of the acquired martial arts, indeed powerful. Based on my current strength, I should be able to apply to become a junior leader. Lin Xuan silently clenched his fist, and a bitter smile flashed on his face. Gently shaking his head, he picked up the wooden spear in his hand again. Mechanical, continue to repeat the previous action. However, compared to before, every time Lin Xuan waved his wooden spear. But they can all burst out, bursts of breaking wind sound. In my mind, I also figured out many moves on my own. I used it subconsciously on the spot. Although this is the end of the Han dynasty in the Three Kingdoms, it is completely different. By fusing the memories of his predecessor, Lin Xuan finally learned. In February of the first year of Zhongping, which was 2 months ago, Zhang Jiao used the incomplete version of Taiping Xianshu to create the method of qi transportation and break through the constraints of heaven and earth. Bringing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to the mortal world, everyone can cultivate martial arts and spiritual power. Those who have exceptional martial arts skills and unparalleled intelligence are able to irrigate their bodies with spiritual energy. Some even use martial arts to prove their way and soar directly in place. The revival of heaven and earth's spiritual energy has only taken 2 months. It is already a chaotic situation in the world. Especially when on the battlefield, Lin Xuan witnessed it firsthand. There is a yellow scarf warrior who is invincible and invincible. A yellow heavenly messenger who inspires military morale and treats wounded soldiers. There is also the yellow turban leader who can break open the city gate with the power of one person. If it weren't for the timely awakening of the system, Lin Xuan would have almost passed away on the spot and strongly demanded to reopen it. Looking at the results of his cultivation, Lin Xuan finally raised his hand and wiped his sweat. It really deserves to be the King of Scrolls system, Ba. It is the law of heaven that rewards diligence. Only through hard work can one win, and hard work will have a reward system. Query property panel. At the next moment, Lin Xuan thought for a moment. A semi-transparent color suddenly appeared in front of me. P.S. Mythical version of Gaowu Three Kingdoms. In order to ensure the plot is exciting, the approximate timeline and character appearance time will not change, and some may be slightly changed. We apologize for any inconvenience caused. Also, support for those who like to watch, such as favorites, flowers, and review tickets. Thank you. Chapter 0002. Strive hard, and indeed there will be rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Name: Lin Xuan, ZMO, Force. 59, Peak of the Day After Tomorrow Warrior, Intelligence. 36, Not Included in Ordinary Products, Commander-in-Chief. 28, Politics. 32, Gunmanship. Mastery, Practice. External Skill Forging Technique, Yellow Level Ordinary Practice. The martial arts realm is divided into Ordinary, Acquired, Innate, Vigorous, Master, Divine General, and Martial God. The realm of a strategist can be divided into Ordinary, Acquired, Innate, Mysterious, Wise, Versatile, and Heavenly. Technique/treasures. Heaven, Earth, Xian, Huang, etc. Animal. I've been trying so hard for so long, just to become a minor leader in the Yellow Turban and not a mainstream warrior. Looking at his ordinary panel, Lin Xuan felt the urge to vomit blood. Crazy in my heart, sending the most sincere family greetings to the system. Wait. Host, please adjust your emotions. Cold knowledge. As long as you keep working hard, you will gradually become stronger. I thought the system could release some rainbow-threaded fart. But as a result, Lin Xuan gave a disdainful glance as he waited for such a sentence. You're so cold, all you have left is knowledge. Under great helplessness, I had to accept the fact before me. Just as Lin Xuan finished his work, he was in the tent of the leader of the Yellow Turban. Deng Mao walked out with a shocked expression and quickly led people to the training ground. Who broke through just now? Stand up. Faced with Deng Mao's sudden question, the originally lazy Yellow Turban soldier. One by one, their expressions were numb, and they turned their gaze to Lin Xuan in the field. But I happened to see Lin Xuan dancing with a spear in his hand. Looking at the young man in front of him, Deng Mao's heart couldn't help but tremble. You should know that the Yellow Turban army has only worked for 2 months. There are millions of people gathered, among which there is naturally a mix of good and bad, and a mix of good and bad. In order to prevent the leakage of martial arts, they were secretly learned by the court or members of aristocratic families. This external skill forging technique is naturally a version that has been artificially castrated. Simply put, it can barely increase the physical fitness of ordinary people. Give them the strength to confront the regular army of the court. As for talents worth cultivating, they naturally need to go through multiple selections. To bestow upon the true core martial arts of the Taiping Dao. Can the young man in front of me, holding a castrated version of forging body technique, reach the pinnacle of cultivation in the day after tomorrow? What kind of demon is this person? Who is this person's general? Deng Mao, with a hint of doubt, reached out and pointed at Lin Xuan. A strong man behind him quickly stood up. Report to the leader, this is my subordinate. What is his name? Upon hearing Deng Mao's repeated questioning, the strong man was somewhat unable to answer. Looking at Lin Xuan, he cast a pleading gaze. At this moment, Lin Xuan slowly spoke up and said, report to the leader, my subordinate's name is Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan, a great name. How did you break through? Deng Mao's eyes narrowed slightly, his expression still somewhat incredulous. When asked, Lin Xuan felt a bit embarrassed. Just this way, and then again. With a pop, it feels like it's breaking through. Upon hearing Lin Xuan's explanation, Deng Mao couldn't help but pat the back of his head. Becoming a yellow scarf leader myself is also because of my good foundation before. In addition, it has been some years since joining Taiping Road. Before the revival of spiritual energy, I had been practicing Taoism every day. This has just broken through innate limitations. To be honest, I don't know what's going on. It feels like Lin Xuan in front of me is quite reasonable. It would be even better if the other party's nonsense was not mixed with any nonsense. I nodded in satisfaction before shouting loudly. Not bad, our Taiping Road is short of talents like you. You all, study hard. This is called, diligence is good, diligence can catch up. Listening to Deng Mao's awkward speech, Lin Xuan almost missed the spot. Use your toes to button up 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. A diligent student is good, diligence can make up for shortcomings. I can still barbecue. What you want to say is that diligence is not enough, and diligence can make up for shortcomings, right? Especially the first sentence, I think. The Yellow Turban army lacks itself, and it's not impossible. Alright, since you have reached the peak the day after tomorrow. I will promote you to the position of little leader now, and lead 500 people first. Hiss upon hearing Deng Mao's order, the soldiers with yellow scarves around couldn't help but take a deep breath. Is this a promotion? Is it that simple? You should know that the Yellow Turban leader's treatment is completely different from that of an ordinary soldier. It wasn't these little bosses who ate the rest before it was their turn. Seeing the object of ridicule from everyone just now, it seems like he has become his superior. The gaze of everyone suddenly became complicated. Is it difficult? Are we really not working hard enough on our own? Chapter 0003. Opportunities for Promotion, Taiping. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For Deng Mao, elevating himself to the position of Yellow Turban leader. There was no surprise in Lin Xuan's heart. After all, one's own strength is already the pinnacle of the acquired martial arts. In the shortage of talent in the Yellow Turban army, it is not many, right? The only thing that makes me feel a bit awkward is I seem to have gone further and further on the wrong path. But to be honest, no, to be precise. I can't even be considered a white body, at best I am a rogue. The term rogue here is different from the meaning of later generations. It refers to having no land to cultivate oneself, and secondly, having no culture or family background. You should know that the end of the Han dynasty was a place that talked about aristocrats and family background. There is no real civilian counterattack that started from scratch. Even Liu Bei, who has been starving for 3 days and 9 meals, has a prefix of emperor uncle. As for Cao Cao, Yuan Shao, and so on, they themselves are aristocratic families. As a refugee, it's strange to have any achievements. As for finding someone to seek refuge in this matter, I have thought about it myself. Just the timeline is too early. Cao Cao is still a dumbfounded youth, and Liu Bei still doesn't know where to weave grass shoes. As for Sun Quan, we don't even know if there are livestock. My own choice is to continue to be promoted within the yellow scarf. So as to peek and learn, the true way to open up this world. Besides, I have to submit to the court. Just a Han, he can't live 2 more years than a yellow scarf. If you rashly seek refuge, you may even be considered a military achievement. A great man once said, when you cannot resist life, it is better to let nature take its course and enjoy it. Another great man, Lu Shuren, once said, when there is a sentence that you don't know who said, you can say it was me. Can you read? Deng Mao widened his eyes and asked, only to see Lin Xuan nodding silently. I was satisfied with this and then spoke again. That's good, he truly deserves to be the talent I admire. There aren't many people in our Yellow Turban army who can read. Follow me, I will personally preach for you. Hua. As soon as these words were spoken, a crowd around them. Suddenly, he cast an envious gaze at Lin Xuan. You should know that in the Taiping Dao, the identity of the preacher is extremely important. Deng Mao, as an elderly person who joined the Taiping Road early on. If it weren't for my low intelligence, I would have barely reached the level of vigorous energy. It's not that it's just a leader at this time, probably promoted to Chu Shui long ago. Faced with the gaze of everyone, Deng Mao seemed to be extremely enjoying it. I deliberately stayed for a while before getting up and walking back to my camp. At this moment, Lin Xuan felt like Li Ziming, who had been around for 3 or 6 years. Someone seemed to be in their ear, frantically shouting, your mother came to see you with 2 cans of Wangzai milk. No, this is so special, what's there to show off about? Suppressing the urge to vomit blood, wait for Deng Mao to harvest and complete the equipment's value. I followed behind and entered the camp. After Deng Mao sat down, he waved his hand to indicate that he was seated. Gently, he took out a worn-out book from the wooden box behind him. Even breathing became much lighter, with a devout expression on his face. This technique was personally practiced by General Tiangong. Non-members of the Taiping Dao are not allowed to watch, please remember. I will pass on this book to you, you must not pass it on to others, otherwise. The world is so vast that there may be no place for you. General Tiangong, we won't let anyone betray him go. Listening to Deng Mao's chatter, Lin Xuan almost didn't enjoy it. What, Zhang Jiao still knows magic? Why don't you know to curse Lu Hong to death? It's so easy. It's still a struggle to start a trade fair. Lin Xuan was just thinking in his heart, but on the surface, he pretended to be fanatical. Excited, wanting to reach out and touch. This. Is it personally owned by General Tiangong? My goodness. I'm lucky to have 3 lives. Deng Mao was extremely satisfied with Lin Xuan's attitude. After nodding, he said calmly, "What's so urgent?" "I'll ask you. Do you know who Chu Shui is from our yellow scarf?" Lin Xuan twitched his lips and faced Deng Mao's entrance exam. I couldn't help but feel a bit confused and shook my head gently. Deng Mao snorted with some dissatisfaction before speaking again. "Remember, we are the part of Cheng Yuanji and Cheng Xushui. The person who preaches for you is Deng Mao, the leader under General Cheng Chu's command. Alright, this Taiping Tuna law is now yours. It's definitely good to study hard, don't let down my indulgence in you." Pup upon hearing these words, Lin Xuan almost spewed out a mouthful of old blood. "Still doting on me, can you stop dragging words?" "I'm not stopping you, do you still want to say? Big brother has no education, but he loves you, doesn't he? How about learning a martial arts technique on your own and still having to shed blood and recognize your family? Looking at the cultivation technique in front of me, forget it. I can bear it." Chapter 0004. Zhang Jiao's ambition is impressive, but there are many. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Holding the Taiping Tuna law given by Deng Mao, Lin Xuan left without hesitation. When I returned to my original military camp, my former leader. At this moment, he happened to be waiting for himself outside the camp. He, brother Lin Xuan. My name is Li Damu, and we will become brothers from now on. I have arranged an independent camp for you, which will be convenient for you to study martial arts. No need to thank you, it's all what I should do. Faced with the unexpected kindness from the other party, Lin Xuan did not refuse either. I accepted it generously and politely. I have just entered my own new camp and just sat down. I couldn't wait and took out the Taiping Tuna law from my arms. Looking at the somewhat tattered cover, Lin Xuan couldn't help but frown. Hiss. Seemingly ordinary, in fact. No matter how you look at it, it's still very ordinary, okay? Shaking the corners of his mouth, he shook his head and let out a slight sigh. Join the yellow scarf, I have no choice. Now that I want to leave Huangtian, I feel a bit confused. No family background, no wealth, no outstanding military strength and intelligence. Is it difficult or not, relying solely on one's past life and memories of the 3 kingdoms? Interestingly, you should know that this is a mythological version of the 3 kingdoms. It's not surprising that if you go out and get beaten to death by a beggar old man, improving one's strength is the only thing that needs to be done right now. Putting aside distractions, I finally reached out and opened the book. Just as soon as it opened, an indescribable Dao Yun rushed towards me. Tisk, it's really not easy. This is the opportunity for me to improve my strength and break through the day after tomorrow. Calm down and carefully examine it. The content in the book, on the contrary, does not have much to say or anything extraordinary. Mysterious and mysterious, the content of various mysterious gates. On the contrary, it is quite easy to understand. It can be seen that the writer has put in a lot of effort. Thank you, after Zhang Jiao's 8th generation ancestors. The content on it was only then that it became apparent. I Zhang Jiao, during the reign of Shiping, received guidance from immortals and comprehended the key techniques of Taiping. However, my natural talent is dull, and I only learn a few essential skills. Coincidentally, Emperor Han was incompetent and the people were displaced. Effortlessly dedicating half a life's effort to create a method of qi circulation, and inducing changes in heaven and earth. Anyone with a spiritual root can gain qi and energy, integrate with the Tao, and comprehend the principles of immortality. I hope that everyone in the world can learn to live forever, so that there will be no more suffering in this world. I don't know if this move is right or wrong, and it's up to future generations to comment. Those who practice the Dharma can infuse the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into their bodies, breathe naturally, and attain eternal enlightenment. Looking at the beginning of the Taiping Tuna Law, Lin Xuan couldn't help but feel a bit shocked. I never expected that Zhang Jiao would. It's quite complicated. However, it was also a case of wolf destruction. Emperor Han was incompetent and the people were displaced. So why do you bring the spiritual energy of heaven and earth down to earth, so that everyone in the world can cultivate immortality? You are so special, there are more than just a few more ruthless people. Although Zhang Jiao's brain circuit is a bit unclear to me. But Lin Xuan understood Zhang Jiao's mentality somewhat. Very impressive, but somewhat affected by a serious illness. No wonder they all say, don't play with cultivators, they have bad minds. I pursed my lips and then skipped this paragraph. We have begun to enter the formal content of the martial arts. Hiss. Meow. Frog seed, body and heart are in harmony, breathing naturally. Zhang Jiao, I'm afraid he really wants everyone to cultivate immortality. After just reading it once, Lin Xuan had an insight. With a gleam in his eyes, he silently practiced according to the above techniques. 6 hours later, the sky had already turned dark. However, Lin Xuan has practiced the absorption method more than 30 times. Except for the time spent eating and drinking, never move a step. Apart from feeling light and agile, there hasn't been much change. I patted my face to force myself to perk up. Pop 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 pop, no, only by fighting hard can we win. As long as you work hard, there will definitely be rewards. I must be not working hard enough, come on, come on. Sleep on the floor today, and be the boss tomorrow. Charge, charge. Deng, you inspired yourself and forced chicken blood, is this okay too? At this moment, Lin Xuan felt a spiritual shock. The body, which was originally somewhat exhausted, was rejuvenated under the influence of chicken blood. Off campus. Deng Mao, who originally wanted to exchange feelings, couldn't help but pause for a moment. Good guy, what kind of person is Lin Xuan? He actually even deceive yourself. Is talent something that can be forced upon? If you study hard and practice hard, you can achieve it. As for myself, who has been practicing hard for so many years, is still a strong martial artist. Young people, it's better not to be too young. Chapter 0005. Promotion of Martial Arts, Breakthrough Again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Until the next day, at dawn. After a night of cultivation, I learned about Zhang Jiao's Taiping Tuna Fa. Lin Xuan became increasingly adept at using it. Even in my heart, I vaguely have some of my own thoughts. Finally, after practicing 100 times, the rewards of hard work also appeared. Ding! You have practiced the Taiping Tuna Law 100 times. Reward. Internal skill plus 99. Ding! You have broken through the day after tomorrow and reached the innate first level realm. Effort will yield rewards, and heaven will not disappoint every person who strives, receiving rewards and gifts from heaven. Your Taiping Tuna Fa has promoted you to Infinite Breathing Qi Decision. Infinite Breathing Technique. Promoted from the basic breathing method to the plus version, it does not require active use and can operate automatically. Internal skill plus 1. Internal skill plus 1. Breakthrough again. I'll be good, this upgrade is as fast as taking a rocket. Automatic cultivation. Isn't it true that if I sleep, I will be invincible in the world? As the saying goes, a horse without night grass is not fat, and a person without windfall is not rich. My own Heavenly Way reward diligence system can even help me upgrade my martial arts skills. For Lin Xuan, it can be said to be an unexpected joy. With a thought, open the property panel again. Name: Lin Xuan, Zimo, Force. 61, beginner level of innate warrior, intelligence. 41, not included in ordinary products, commander-in-chief. 28, politics. 32, cultivation methods. External skill forging technique, yellow level ordinary cultivation method, infinite breathing technique, Xian level superior cultivation method, dot. Internal skill. 19,999,999, in an instant, the joy just now dissipated. With one's own military strength, we broke through from 59 to 61, right? Tired, destroy it. However, the system helps itself to upgrade to a limitless and decisive manner. Surprisingly, it is still a top-notch martial arts technique at the Xian level. I am a child picking up rags in a yellow scarf. Finally, I have my own treasure. Surprisingly, my intelligence also increased by 5 points. The other attributes have not changed at all. I decisively chose to block the system prompt of infinite breath determination. Otherwise, the continuous broadcasting sound would be enough to annoy oneself. Watching the continuous growth of internal skills due to natural breathing. I nodded in satisfaction and looked at it. This hang is quite large. This is real, it makes the breathing stronger. As for the famous generals and strategists in the original Three Kingdoms world. Originally, it was a demon with exceptional talent, which underwent spiritual baptism. It's only 2 months and there hasn't been much change yet. Otherwise, the Yellow Turban Army, these ragtag masses. It's also impossible to have an advantage in the early stages. With this in mind, for the situation where the Yellow Turban Army first became strong and then weak, and later collapsed. Lin Xuan had a rough guess in his heart. He frowned and couldn't help but secretly say, it seems. The advantage of yellow scarves is only good in the early stages. My hope ultimately lies with Zhang Jiao, this guy. Breakthrough again. While Lin Xuan was still immersed in joy. Deng Mao, however, was untimely and suddenly walked out of the tent. Looking at my own eyes, I was even more amazed without any disguise. I'll be good, it's still the first time I've seen you. Do you really have a bottleneck period when someone breaks through continuously? If this continues, in a few months, I'll have to call you boss. Faced with Deng Mao's teasing, Lin Xuan could only smile awkwardly. That's when I remembered my query properties. I don't know if it can be used on others yet. Deng Mao, who happened to come to the door, was an experimental subject. Without saying a word, I silently recited it in my heart. At the next moment, a semi-transparent panel reappears. However, compared to myself, it is much simpler. Name: Deng Mao, Force. 70, Vigorous Force First Level, Intelligence. 36 Commander-in-Chief. 41, Politics. 11, there are all basic attributes, just like my own cultivation column. But it was impossible to detect, and I sighed with some regret. Even so, the ability to explore has already been incredible. At least in the future, if you encounter someone you can't beat, you can betray your teammates in a timely manner. As the saying goes, when people wander in the martial arts world, there are many prostitutes who do not oppress themselves. It's just that Deng Mao's military strength is only 70 points. I'm not much stronger than myself. Although I have always known that there is a shortage of talents with yellow scarves, I never expected that the shortage would reach such a level. The boss joked, I just advanced. The realm is not yet very stable. As for combat, I haven't tried it before. Lin Xuan spoke with a smile, afraid that he had just advanced. Just like being sent by Deng Mao to attack Pinyin County. Going out, face is only worth a few dollars, but life is still more important. When there is no strength, showing off one's strength is like hanging oneself for a long life. Deng Mao rolled his eyes at the words. In terms of genius, Lin Xuan is the only one he has ever seen. But in the matter of being afraid of death, I didn't expect it to be exceptional. Just entered Taiping Road and joined the Yellow Turban Army. There are some things that you can't help but do. He. Lin Xuan, now the court has dispatched General Lu Ji from the north and the 5 armies' troops and horses. I'm going to come to Jiao to suppress bandits. I'm wrong. They are coming to confront us on the Taiping Road. General Tiangong has an order to seize all the cities within the territory of Jiao before the enemy arrives. Ahem, you almost slip your tongue. From Deng Mao's words and phrases, Lin Xuan could also hear it. In fact, these people, although seemingly powerful. Facing the court, I don't have much confidence in myself. After all, before that, they were just some displaced and hungry people. Except for the core members of Taiping Dao, the rest are basically the same. They all follow the yellow scarf and make a living, with a large number of people watching the excitement. Lin Xuan secretly rolled his eyes before opening his inquiry. Boss, I'll take your orders. You said to go east, I will never go west. You tell me, where are we going this time? Seeing Lin Xuan's positive attitude, Deng Mao nodded with satisfaction. But the words he said afterwards almost made Lin Xuan jump and curse at his mother. Chapter 0006. Deng Mao's Crisis, I Was Exiled. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This time it's different from before. You have already broken through the acquired realm and reached the innate realm, and can now lead your own army. After you attack Wuji County, stay here and wait for orders. After a long silence. Lin Xuan is just a little flustered now. It's not the right time for me to come with a yellow scarf. I just want to follow along and run away when I have gained enough benefits. Now that I have studied the Taiping Tuna law, I am directly mistaken by Deng Mao for my own person. I am getting deeper and deeper in the quagmire of mistakes. Who? Boss, who do you think we're going to hit? Deng Mao blinked, thinking that Lin Xuan really didn't hear clearly. He joked and asked in reverse, what's going on? So Wuji County, do you have your beloved relatives and friends? Shangxiang County, Wuji County, have you heard me clearly? I heard it clearly, but Lin Xuan's mouth couldn't help but twitch fiercely. What's the difference between you and asking me to fight in Pinyin County? There are only 500 people under my command. You just let me take a county seat, you look up to me too much. Looking at Lin Xuan, suddenly there was a feeling of being unattainable. Deng Mao was actually startled and hesitated for a moment. Don't worry, this matter is not urgent, he said patiently, you have just been promoted to the rank of little leader, let's do it. You train your soldiers for half a month in the camp first, and then set off. By the way, don't worry, we have captured Wuji County. The benefits are naturally significant, in addition to the money and food to be paid. The rest, you can play your own game and recruit as many people as you want to join the Yellow Turban. It's all your credit and it's up to you to lead. Maybe when we meet again, you'll become the leader too. Ha. Deng Mao's words are indeed true. After all, at this point in time, it is estimated that the Yellow Turban army will arrive. There will inevitably be many refugees joining spontaneously. Of course, the prerequisite is that you can afford to support yourself. And the advantage of the yellow scarf in the early stage is not covered. A hint of doubt flashed in his eyes, but he raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise. Big leader, let's have a yellow scarf uprising. Isn't it at the same time? Why doesn't Wuji County have our people now? Ha! Deng Mao's laughter came to a sudden halt. His face was as uncomfortable as if he had been interrupted to cast a spell and had become constipated. After hesitating for a moment, he finally spoke up and said, "Harm, let's deal with this." Actually, there was a big leader in Wuji County. His name is Zhang Yan, and he has over 10,000 people under his command, which can be considered a grand presence. Facing Wuji County, I have been fighting for a month, but I can't stop. On the contrary, they joined forces with King Niujio and became bandits in the Taihang Mountains. It's embarrassing enough to say this. Black Mountain Army, Zhang Yan. Lin Xuan nodded lightly, revealing a hint of clarity. With this statement, it makes sense. But this Yan is actually a smart person. He pulled his own team, but instead hid. In this way, they also managed to avoid the imperial encirclement. It can also be considered as opening up a new path for oneself. No, big boss, he suddenly realized that Zhang Yan, with over 10,000 people, didn't even capture Wuji County. Can you let me take 500 people to attack Wuji County? This joke is a bit exaggerated, isn't it? Faced with his own life and death, Lin Xuan remained exceptionally cautious. Deng Mao was stabbed in the center of his thoughts, and his face turned red with a burst of blush. After holding it for a while, he finally gasped and said, "All right, I'll give you 1,500 more people. At most. I'll give you 10 days' worth of rations, which will be enough for you to arrive. The rest is up to me." You should know that the situation is not optimistic in the organization right now. As a core member of the Taiping Dao, you naturally need to work more and share more. Faced with Deng Mao's PUA, Lin Xuan remained unmoved. After blinking, he asked, "So, big leader. I was exiled by you, right?" Deng Mao's eyes flashed with an imperceptible ambiguity. My own strength is just the first level of vigorous energy. And it only took Lin Xuan a few days from his unknown hometown to break through the day after tomorrow. If this continues, the position of this leader in the future. Is it yours or Lin Xuan's? Instead, it's better to cast a wide net. Anyway, Jiao is so big, everywhere is covered in yellow scarves. Where the soil and water do not nourish people, when the time comes. Unable to protect Lin Xuan, he got mixed up and became his preacher. It can also be carried along, followed by a touch of light. Don't think too much. I'm doing this for your own good. I'll bring you the person later. You go and practice it yourself. Time is tight and the task is heavy. Hurry up. Deng Mao finished speaking and hurriedly left the camp. I don't know why, facing Lin Xuan on my own. There is always a feeling of being seen through. This feeling is very bad. Faced with Deng Mao's extravagance, what Lin Xuan can do. Only by seeing through and not speaking out, can we continue to be friends. After Deng Mao left, there was a slight hook on the corner of his mouth that was not noticeable. Leaving Deng Mao's control may not necessarily be a good thing for oneself. Furthermore, I am here with Deng Mao. Having obtained the external skill forging technique and Taiping tuna method, one cannot obtain anything better. After being patient again and practicing for a while, Lin Xuan finally realized helplessly that without a better cultivation method, my own strength can only be entrusted to time, slowly climbing up. A moment later, in the open space outside the tent, more than 1,000 people walked in large numbers, as if being driven away. Listening to the noise outside, Lin Xuan reluctantly gave up. Get up and walk out of the tent, where the open space is. But it was crooked and twisted, covered in the yellow scarf army. Old, weak, sick, and disabled. One by one, they were like candles lingering in the wind, without even the strength to stand. Obviously, among the Yellow Turban soldiers, they are the least talented and most ordinary mortals. The weapons in hand are even more diverse. Chopsticks, hoes, axes, sticks, branches, even worse, he carried a large pot on his back and a spatula in his hand. "I don't know, I thought I was going to fry dishes for the enemy to taste. A death squad, not necessarily the kind that dares to die." Seeing the group of people in front of him, Lin Xuan couldn't help but turn his forehead black. "Good guy, it turns out that Deng Mao is not a good bird either. I thought I had met a kind-hearted person. This is not about adding manpower to oneself. It's clear that they are using themselves to deal with the redundancy and unnecessary burdens of the Yellow Turban Army. Deng Mao, from Nima. P.S. Brothers, please support those who like to watch more. Thank you here. The data on the first day has passed and will continue to be updated, begging for flowers, review tickets, and comments. If you have money, hold a money market, but if you don't have money, hold a personal market." Chapter 0007. Lin Xuan's New Pyramid Marketing, Heavenly Way Rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Boss, our boss has come out." "Boss, when are we having dinner?" "Yeah, didn't you say there was food to eat with Huangtian?" "We don't eat or drink for a whole day. I can't stand it, and my wife can't stand it either." Yes, I can handle it, and his wife can't handle it either." "My wife, what does it have to do with you?" I can't say It doesn't matter at all. I almost solved the case on the spot as I didn't speak up." Lin Xuan couldn't help but feel a headache and quickly waved his hand. Fortunately, as a small leader in the yellow scarf, among these ordinary soldiers, there is still some dignity. This suppressed everyone's noise and looked around. "I just found a high place and jumped up easily." Everyone, be quiet. Those who want to eat, be quiet and listen to me." Combined with the inner power of his innate warrior, his voice seemed to be diffused by a loudspeaker. In an instant it spread throughout the open space of the square, making it clear to everyone. Seeing everyone quiet down, Lin Xuan silently sighed. People's hearts are divided, it's difficult to lead a team. This yellow scarf doesn't do much human affairs either. Didn't it be agreed that the landlord would divide the land and grain? It's hard to say otherwise. But almost all of Jiao was captured by the Yellow Turban. Where have all the fields and grain of those aristocratic and wealthy families gone? Such a Yellow Turban army, on the surface, is said to be the dead of the heavens and the yellow sky should stand. But behind the scenes, it's just for the people. I changed places and continued to suffer. Brothers, why do we rebel? Upon hearing Lin Xuan's questioning, a group of pale and emaciated refugees. One by one, they were stunned and unconsciously lost in thought. For what? What else can it be? It's just for the sake of having a full meal. It is also for the same reason that once we defeat the landlord and the powerful, no one will exploit us again in the future. There is food to eat, crops to grow, housing to live in, and clothing to wear. Of course, if there is a bit of surplus every year, that would be even better. Just all of this, whether it's the Taiping Road. Still the Yellow Turban army in front of me, it seems like. None of them have achieved it. Although the people are ignorant, their hearts are also the clearest. After all, if you haven't eaten enough, can you still not know? Seeing everyone lost in thought, Lin Xuan then continued to speak. The voice is loud and has a somewhat uplifting effect. We rebelled against the oppression of the court. Not willing to be exploited by aristocratic clans, unwilling to compromise on the injustice of fate. I don't think anyone here who has a full stomach would choose to join the yellow scarf, would they? Ha ha ha. Someone laughed a few times, but immediately withdrew. Because almost all of the 2,000 people present had a sad expression on their faces. Isn't this just about themselves? If one can eat enough, who is willing to take the risk of beheading and stealing the family? Come join the Yellow Turban army and fight to the death with the imperial court. The court is incompetent, officials are corrupt, and the people are struggling to make ends meet. Water can carry and capsize boats, we are water. Our hard work in farming brings us constant oppression. Even the remaining grain is not enough to feed the whole family, even so. Those corrupt officials are still intensifying their pressure on us. The court still oppresses us with various clear intentions and sets up exorbitant taxes and levies. Lin Xuan's words can be described as resounding. Almost talked about the pain in everyone's heart. Even the other yellow scarf leaders who were watching from afar. I couldn't help but feel a palpitations in my heart. So. We are all powerless ordinary people who can do nothing except cultivate land. What can we do? Suddenly, someone in the crowd asked a question. But there is a hint of injustice towards fate in my eyes. In his stubborn expression, there was also a hint of hope. Upon hearing this question, Lin Xiankai finally showed a smile. Raise your hands, clench your fists, and compete in the air. Do you have the strength to bind a chicken with your hands? No, you can cultivate the land day and night, year round. You already have the strength to resist, but you are used to holding hoes and sickles. But I'm not used to it. Pick them up and wave them to protect ourselves. This. Faced with Lin Xian's remarks, everyone couldn't help but look at each other. One by one, it was like a sudden enlightenment, as excited as being beaten with chicken blood. They raised their hands one after another, picked up their weapons, and waved them twice. Only then did someone excitedly shout out. Yeah, I don't have anything else, I just have a lot of brute force. My wife has said that I am as strong as a cow. Cultivate during the day and at night, never idle for a moment. I understand, boss. Are you asking us to pick up weapons to resist and protect ourselves? Ha ha ha, I don't know if I understand or not. But your wife also suffered a lot following you. The strong black man who just spoke was being teased by someone. His face suddenly turned red and he twisted a little embarrassed. After such an interlude, the previously passive refugee yellow scarf. At this moment, one by one, their spirits are excited and their faces are rosy. Boss, you can tell me what we should do, we all listen to you. Yes, of course it would be even better if I could have a full meal. I can give you my life. Listening to everyone's discussions, Lin Xian couldn't help but smile. What a simple people, it's just a pity. In this chaotic world, no one is innocent. Being in it, if you don't fight hard, you can only be cowardly and wait for death. At this moment, Lin Xian raised his right fist again. Utilized the true qi in the body to ensure that everyone present was satisfied. You can hear your own voice clearly. What you need to do is start from today. Effort, struggle, unity, and strength. Use your own hands to create a beautiful home. Come, let's fight together for a better tomorrow. Also, for the next dinner. Ha ha ha. I understand what the leader said, and I love to hear it too. Follow the leader for the next dinner. Work hard. Struggle. Unity. Strong, 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 strong. Ding. Heaven rewards diligence, hard work will bring rewards. After continuous speeches, your skill of beating chicken blood has been promoted to brainwashing. Ding. By continuously training your soldiers, your military training ability has improved. Heaven rewards diligence, you have obtained the skill. Training aura. Training aura. Can increase training speed by 10% for new recruits. Chapter 0008. Training Halo Enhancement, Departure, Objective. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Dry gentlemen, put in more effort, practice it, Huangtian camp, inside the training ground. A bustling scene, completely different from before. After multiple brainwashing surgeries by Lin Xian, the 2,000 elderly, weak, sick, and disabled who had just joined the yellow scarf. After careful selection, an elite army of 800 people was formed. Apart from the young children, there are still over 900 people left. Women form medical classes to learn basic first aid and care on the battlefield. The elderly, weak, sick and disabled are respectively responsible for cooking and transporting auxiliary soldiers. It can be said that the division of labor is clear, and each person performs their own duties. Far stronger than the originally scattered yellow scarf, I don't know how much. Ding. You keep practicing your soldiers, triggering the heavenly way to reward diligence. As long as you work hard, there will be rewards. Reward. Training Halo level increased. Training Aura, LV2. Can increase training speed by 20%. Ho Wang Wenqing, don't bully me either. Undoubtedly, it is the rolling king system, and even the training aura can be upgraded. In an instant, Lin Xuan felt like he had another rush. Somewhere on the playground, on Deng Mao's face. At this point it was already a bit embarrassing and there was nothing else. Since the army trained by Lin Xuan began to get on track. The daily food consumption has already exceeded my expectations. Families that are already not wealthy are even worse off. I am now even more convinced that I was right to exile Lin Xuan. Not to mention anything else, just Lin Xuan's ability to incite. I almost fell in love with you. I just asked you to take people to open up wasteland. What if you put it here and build a perfect new world? Alright, let's have dinner. After lunch, continue practicing the battle formation. I'll go find the leader later and get some equipment. We can't really let you go to the battlefield with sticks and branches. After some investigation, Lin Xuan finally spoke with satisfaction. At this time, the young soldiers trained were all full of energy. Full of energy, running towards the place where the meal was served with laughter. Seeing this scene, Deng Mao couldn't sit still anymore. Lin Xuan is clearly the leader of pyramid schemes. The last time I had this feeling, I still listened to the lecture of General Tiangong. No, it can't go on like this. The hard-earned wealth he has saved up must be eaten into poverty by him. Quickly, he appeared in front of Lin Xuan with several small leaders. Seeing Deng Mao appear, Lin Xuan knew. This is a carrier turn, there must be crude oil. As expected, Deng Mao couldn't wait to speak up. Well, Lin Xuan, I think it's almost time now. How about? When you're full later, you can take them on your way. Upon hearing Deng Mao's words, although Lin Xuan had long known about such a day. But to be honest, I'm still a bit excited. After all, the vast sea relies on fish leaping, and now I only have daily automatic cultivation. Basically, it can be said that there has been no improvement. If we continue to mess around like this, the advantage we have finally gained will be caught up with by others. On his face, he pretended to be difficult. This. According to the agreed date, there may still be a few days left. Big collar, look. Deng Mao saw this and quickly waved his hand. Time or something, it's not important. Don't worry, your equipment is indispensable. However, they are all equipment that has been phased out by the official army and county's treasuries. As for the grain, I can only give you what you need for 7 days. So, you really need to hurry up, there's not much time left for you. Upon hearing these words, Lin Xuan couldn't help but frown. Deng Mao is really short-sighted. I originally promised myself 10 days of rations. But when I turned around, I was detained for 3 days. However, it's also good in this way. After all, following Deng Mao can bring great success. We need to quickly find a place to go and build our own territory. I see, since that's the case. Thank you very much for the leader's kindness. Lin Xuan will definitely repay him with a drop of water in the future. Lin Xuan arched his hand and hesitated for a moment. However, according to Deng Mao's cultural level, it is not difficult to deceive him. Half a day later. Looking at Lin Xuan's army of 2,000 yellow scarves. Vast and mighty, left his own camp. Deng Mao's eyes were smiling, almost narrowing. With a long sigh of relief, this great Buddha has finally been sent away. Lin Xuan is talented and intelligent. In the future, he will definitely have a bright future in the Taiping Road. But now, it makes me feel even more stressed. I could vaguely feel that although Lin Xuan had never made a move. But in terms of force value, there is an increase every day. If this continues, one's position as the leader will have to change hands. If you call yourself Lin Xuan boss, then your old face. There's really no place to put it. In summary, I am a person with little ambition and ambition. It is extremely difficult for oneself to have such a position. As the saying goes, poor play with cars, rich play with watches, and have no money. I'm so special, I can't play D anymore. On the other end. It's only an hour. After several days of continuous practice by Lin Xuan. And strictly monitor everyone and practice according to the external skill forging technique. Although not many people have the talent for martial arts cultivation. But invisibly, it has also increased a lot of physical fitness and endurance. Even the elderly, weak, women, and children are still walking briskly at this time. In just 1 hour of effort, we walked 20 miles away. And the distance from Wuji City is only less than 30 miles away. Sigh. Even a clever woman cannot cook without rice. Looking at the yellow scarf team in front of me, which will belong to me alone in the future. Lin Xuan couldn't help but sigh and once again used his pyramid scheme cough. It's a brainwashing technique. Brothers, starting from today. Follow me, Lin Xuan, and make a living. In the future, whenever I have 1 bite of rice to eat, you will have 1 bite of soup to drink. We need to use our hands to forge our ancestors. Forge the future and create your own beautiful home. Come on, everyone work hard. Sleep on the floor today, and be the boss tomorrow. 3 days are destined, 7 points rely on hard work. As long as you work hard and don't give up, there will be miracles. Everyone is working hard and striving for me to marry you a sister. In law by the end of the year. Ha ha ha. As soon as Lin Xuan finished speaking, it sparked laughter from everyone. Although these words sound a bit nonsensical. But for some reason, I just love listening to it. Perhaps because the leader's words were a bit rough. But at least you can understand, it's human language. Chapter 0009. The Zhen family was robbed. This is not hitting me. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. As the saying goes, the 21st century cough, it's not right. What is the least lacking in the 1st century? Of course, there is no doubt about talent. Unfortunately, these talents do not belong to themselves. My identity as a yellow scarf destined me to have no connection with the children of any aristocratic family. Even in a humble family, I feel a bit unable to climb high. However, the sage also said that as long as the hoe is swung well, there is no corner that cannot be dug down. I am only responsible for my own efforts, and the rest will be handed over to Tianyi, the system. After calming down, I finally regained my composure. Looking back at my own property panel. Name. Lin Xuan, Force. 63, Innate Beginner Martial, Intelligence. 41 Commander-in-Chief. 28, Politics. 32, Cultivation Methods. External Skill Forging Technique, Yellow Level Ordinary Cultivation Method, Infinite Breathing Technique, Xian Level Superior Cultivation Method, Training Halo, LV2, Internal Skill. 78928999999. After the game, Infinite Breath Determination, it operates day and night on its own. My own military strength has also increased by 2 points. But fortunately, after reaching the innate realm. Every time you upgrade, there is no significant change in the required internal power. It is estimated that only after breaking through the vigorous energy can there be an improvement. According to calculations, it will only take at most 3 months. P.S. I didn't say it rose a little in a second. Don't slander me. I know my brain is not working well and I didn't write it clearly, hee. By eating and sleeping every day, one can reach the innate peak. Slow may be a bit slow, but fortunately, it's better than nothing. Report. Boss, bah. General, there are still 10 miles ahead, which is Wuji County. A manor was discovered ahead, and a group of yellow scarves were attacking. Do you think we should go over and help? A scout responsible for scouting suddenly returned quickly to report. Lin Xuan couldn't adapt to the title of the leader in the yellow scarf. Simply call it a soldier and change the name to a general. Those who go out are given their own identities. Hearing the Yellow Turban Army call him their leader made Lin Xuan feel a certain way. Japanese. Calling oneself a Japanese pirate is as awkward as calling oneself a Japanese pirate. Upon hearing the scout's report, Lin Xuan was not surprised. Although Zhang Yan ran away with his sister. Law. But the vastness of Jiao can be described as a yellow scarf everywhere. Suddenly, a small group of yellow scarf soldiers emerged, and I was not surprised at all. Just now, I can also be considered the leader of the yellow scarf around Wuji County. I really want to see who doesn't have long eyes and compete with myself for food. Let's go take a look. Here. Wuji County, 10 miles away. The Zhen family is extremely wealthy, and even the entire Jiao. But there was no choice but to live in the city. Instead, he built a huge estate outside the city. Basically, this was also the norm among the wealthy families in the late Han dynasty. If those aristocratic families, high-ranking officials, and dignitaries have the cover of their status. Of course, there is no need for this, but as a humble family that has been struggling for an unknown amount of time. The land obtained through business at home, as well as the stored grain. But it's not suitable to live in the city. Otherwise, it is possible that there is no place to store just the grain. Originally everything was safe and sound, but who could have imagined it? After the Yellow Turban uprising, the Zhen family encountered the biggest crisis in a century. Master, it's not good anymore. The yellow scarves that came yesterday have come to borrow grain again. Upon hearing this news, Zhen Yan was only in his early 20s. His face couldn't help turning black, and he couldn't help but curse loudly. Borrow grain, I borrowed a grain from your mother. I've been here 10 times in half a month, it's better to snatch it openly. My Zhen family is always kind to the people and opens warehouses 3 times a month to provide relief to disaster victims. Isn't there, Taiping Dao, a threat aimed only at wealthy and corrupt officials who exploit the people for their own benefit? What I said was like farting. If you have the ability, just come in and grab it yourself. At this moment, Zhen Yan seemed to be annoyed to the point of breaking through the defense. This is a slow knife for cutting meat, even for the Zhen family. It's just a drop in the bucket, but this is raising tigers as a threat. Unfortunately, those who are raised are still fed immature yellow scarves. Outside the estate, there is a small yellow scarf leader. Upon hearing these words, I couldn't help but see a fierce light in my eyes. Otherwise, look at your Zhen family estate, the walls are strong enough. Do you think I can spare you from the shortage of soldiers and food under my own hands? But since I've torn my face, I don't have much to pretend about. Zhens, don't be shameless. Today I will lead my army to conquer your estate. When the time comes, you won't be able to do it anymore. Immediately, the little leader couldn't help but show a fierce light on his face. With a grim expression on his face, he smiled and said, "Brothers, in this Zhen family estate. The grain is not just 1,000,000 dendrobiums, it has conquered the manor. Don't say it's dinner, we'll have worry-free food and clothing for our entire lives. The Zhen family is rich and ruthless, attempting to confront our Taiping Dao Yellow Turban army. Conquer the manor, leave no one behind. Kill me." With the little leader giving orders, there was a yellow scarf team of thousands of people. Although my face is yellow and my muscles are weak, when I hear a million grains. But they all erupted one by one, unleashing astonishing combat power. Without him, the temptation is too great. The Yellow Turban soldiers who suffer from hunger, where do they care? Have you received any favors from the Zhen family before? In short, fight against landlords and distribute grain. It is the only driving force for these people to live right now. Kill. Conquer the Zhen family and divide up the property. Kill these turtles and grandsons of the Zhen family. At this time, the soldiers of the Yellow Turban army were overwhelmed by enormous benefits. Everyone had a grim expression, with obvious redness in their eyes. Ignoring the sturdy wall in front of them, they rushed forward one after another. A hint of panic flashed in Jin Yan's eyes. What I am most afraid of is the overwhelming number of people with yellow scarves. Even if the courtyard wall is strong, it cannot withstand so many yellow scarves and reckless charges. Quickly speaking up and shouting, "Hurry up, let go of the arrows. Block them, otherwise. The manor has been breached, we all have to die. No one can run away." Faced with the resistance of the Zhen family and sparse arrow rain. Outside the courtyard walls of the estate, there were constant soldiers with yellow scarves, emitting screams and howls of sorrow. However, the footsteps of the Yellow Turban soldiers rushing towards the door never stopped. The temptation of millions of stones of grain is too great. Enough to make people fearless of life and death. Chapter 0010. Terrifying Yellow Turban Warrior, Lin Xuan takes action. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the Zhen family estate. The battle lasted for several quarters of an hour. The Zhen family relied on hundreds of slaves, servants, as well as bows, arrows, hot oil, and other items. Although temporarily resisted, the crazy Yellow Turban soldiers charged. But it's really hard to resist, there are too many people on the other side. Like boundless locusts, it makes people feel hopeless at a glance. Bang, bang, with a trembling sound, the Yellow Turban army outside the manor came. But strangely dispersed, giving way to a path. I saw a humanoid monster that was about 10 feet tall. Appearing prominently on the battlefield, approaching the Zhen family estate expressionlessly. The entire Zhen family estate was immediately shrouded in tremors and terror. Monster, monster. There's a monster, run for your life, master. What should we do? I don't want to die. Seeing the monster in front of him, Jin Yan's face couldn't help but change. I couldn't help but grit my teeth and immediately set up a bow to draw arrows. Aiming at the yellow scarf warrior, he shot an arrow. But the next moment, a strange scene happened before everyone's eyes. I saw the Yellow Turban warrior not dodge, without any emotion at all. Let the bow and arrow shoot, and the arrow touches the skin of the Yellow Turban warrior. But it was as if it had been shot onto a rock, broken by its own force, and then powerless to land. Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but completely collapse. Jin Yan also had a look of shock on his face, and he spoke in a somewhat frightened tone. It's not a monster. It's a yellow scarf warrior. I believe that a few days ago, Shijiazhuang Garden was breached, which was also done by this group of yellow scarves. Oh no, the Zhen family is really finished this time. I feel guilty to my elder brother and ancestors. As Zhen Yan's words fell, everyone's gaze fell. He also completely became desperate, with a yellow scarf wrestler standing over 2 meters tall. The bulging muscles no longer resemble human form. The veins on his body burst out, like small snakes coiled around him. Every slow step forward makes everyone feel even more hopeless. On the other end, Lin Xuan just arrived with someone. Coincidentally, I also saw this scene on the field. My eyebrows couldn't help but furrow, if it weren't for meeting again today. I almost forgot about the existence of the Yellow Turban Lux. Just this yellow scarf warrior doesn't look very smart. With a thought, I immediately checked the past. Fortunately, the exploration function of the system still did not disappoint me. Name: Nyo Air, Yellow Turban Leisure, Force. 55, Intelligence. 0, Commander-in-Chief. 0, Politics. 0, this is special. It's not that he's not smart, he's just mentally disabled. No, even if one is intellectually disabled, they won't have 0 intelligence. At least one should have a basic understanding of certain things. The yellow scarf warrior in front of me is no longer enough to be called a human. Describing it as humanoid weapons is more appropriate. But what I didn't expect was a yellow scarf warrior. It has already reached the realm of the acquired warrior, this world. It's really much crazier than I imagined. And the yellow scarf wrestler is not just one or two. Groups of yellow scarf warriors, not to mention warriors from this innate realm. Even martial artists like Deng Mao with high energy levels. It may not necessarily be possible to fully recover. Taking Deng Mao as an example is also because he has never seen any good pork before. Cough and cough. Fortunately, this is the only one in front of me. I breathed a sigh of relief and directly picked up the long gun in my hand. Pointing to another yellow scarf in front, he shouted loudly. Brothers, this is Wuji County. It will be our place to settle down in the future. I will lead you to create a beautiful home here. Now. How should we deal with someone coming to our doorstep, burning, killing, and looting? Lin Xuan's words unconsciously triggered pyramid scheme's cough. It's a brainwashing technique. I have heard Lin Xuan's speech countless times before. At this moment, everyone was blushing and their eyes were filled with anger. The yellow scarf in front of me has become like those who used to. Bullying officials, landlords, and powerful individuals who seize their own land. There was no distinction between them, and they all roared in unison. General, fuck him. Fuck them. Drive them out from Wuji. Return my home. Okay, great. Lin Xuan's eyes lit up and he was very satisfied with everyone's condition. Pointing forward with the spear in his hand, he shouted loudly. Charge! Eliminate these bandits. Kill. Kill me! With a group of soldiers wearing yellow scarves, they all shouted loudly. He rushed forward crazily, although at a fast speed, he didn't mess around. Still following the usual training format for attacking. The physique of this yellow scarf has long been different from before. Each well-trained individual quickly gained an absolute advantage. However, at this moment, the Yellow Turban warriors attacking the Zhen family stayed ahead. But as if receiving a command, he suddenly turned around. With a fierce expression on his face, he rushed towards the crowd in just a moment's effort. With impenetrable weapons and immense strength. He overturned his own people and horses on the field. What kind of monster is this damn thing? Why can't it be inserted? Use some more force, you've eaten your food for free. Ah.